America really fumbled.
America fumbled so hard. We fumbled the ball so hard as a nation.
Since I came back to America, I wake up and I just be like, man, something gotta change, bro.
Have we fumbled the bag? Have we fumbled the bag here in America? Because I remember as a kid when the 4th of July used to really mean something. I'm talking about we were all wear American flags, like our t-shirts. Girls would have like the American flag denim jeans. We would have the shirts, the flags. We'd be shirtless, bro. We'd be happy to be American, okay? How do we get here? We had the lead. I mean, the scoreboard was just so lopsided. Okay, we had the cheat codes. We spawned in on easy mode, and we still managed to lose. Bro. Because after World War II, America was set up better than any country in modern history. I'm talking about factories were running, middle class was booming, one job could feed a family, and you could buy a house without selling your soul. College didn't require a lifetime subscription to debt, and we were supposed to build generational stability. But instead, we built generational stress. Somewhere along the way, the system stopped being about building people up and it started being more about extracting from the people. They were talking about work more, get paid less, pay more for everything, and repeat until ultimate burnout. And let's talk about the scams that we have normalized as well. Housing turned into a casino. If you don't already own property, good luck, okay? You are out here bidding against investors, corporations, and algorithms. Shelter had literally became a luxury item. Education is a literal debt simulator. Just the quote-unquote just go to college turned into, oh, congrats, here's 20 years of payments for a job that might not even cover rent. Oh my God, guys, you did. Congratulations. Healthcare is simply a pay-to-live DLC. You can do everything right and still get financially nuked by one bad diagnosis. That's not a system. That is a literal trap. And don't get it twisted, guys. The money didn't vanish, okay? Productivity has gone up, tech has literally exploded, and corporations have hit record profits. The bag is still here. It's just not in our hands. It's not in the people's hands. We have optimized the economy for spreadsheets instead of humans. We let a tiny group of people capture most of the upside while telling everyone else to grind harder. The America Dream has gotten patched into an American subscription model, which consists of monthly payments, rising costs, and shrinking benefits. And now people are confused why everyone's mad, why nobody trusts institutions, why every generation feels poorer than the last. Because the math out here is just not mathing, guys. You can't preach personal responsibility in a system that is designed to bleed people dry. Because at some point, people will stop blaming themselves and then they will start realizing that the game is tilted. And this isn't about hating America. Once again, bro, I'm proud to be American. You know what I'm saying? I'm just disappointed in the America that I'm living in right now. This is about calling out the fact that we have had a historic opportunity and we just chose short-term profits over long-term prosperity. We didn't lose when we weren't capable. We didn't lose because of that. We've lost because we let extraction replace investment. So yeah, America has officially fumbled the bag. And the real question is whether we're going to keep pretending that this is normal or finally admit that the system needs a serious update.
America really fumbled. The millennials and Gen Zs.
This is really like a continuation of this thing that I was talking about the other day, where it just is amazing how capitalists have dropped the ball. Where, you know, like growing up in the 90s, they had streamlined it so effectively that it was working so well. None of us were complaining, you know? Like it was working so well. And yet they were like, how can we have more? And then they just kept turning it up and fucking increasing the prices. And now we are where we are, where like there's a vast majority of us that grew up as like the name brand chasing millennials that wanted to, you know, have status associated with themselves by, you know, like I lived in poverty but yet wore fucking, name brand clothes when I could, because it, to me, was a symbol. It represented something of status or whatever. I was trying to be cooler than I was. And like, none of that would have ever came to the fucking forefront of my recognition had it not been for capitalism dropping the fucking ball. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, they made it to a point where it was like, it's so expensive you resent the things, and then once you start to resent them, you're easily able to pick them apart. Like, it's so easy to look at things and go, why am I buying Tylenol when the fucking chemical's the same whether it's generic or fucking not? Like, it don't make no sense, Then you just start going down that rabbit hole of figuring out, where am I wasting money on a name? There was a point in my life where that was a purchasing, driving thing where, if I was going to name brand everything, you know what I mean? Nowadays, I wear undershirts, what are considered to be undershirts, because I'd rather not have somebody's fucking symbol on my chest. Like, I'm not a walking fucking billboard. Capitalism dropped the fucking ball so hard, I went from being a happy billboard to being a fucking distraught citizen wanting to tear down billboards. Like, way to go, fuckers. I hope it was worth it, because the thing is that is needed to be remembered constantly is all we're asking for is equity. We were never even asking for all of anything. We were just asking for a fair fucking shake. And they kept saying no so repetitively that it's going to be a point where we are literally chasing them to their bunkers. and they're still going to be like, we don't want to share. Ugh, fuck you then. We're going to stop asking for sharing, and we're just going to end up taking. And I, for one, am for that day. Like, I think that we need to start recognizing that the behaviors of the billionaire class and capitalists at large have been so repugnant and so disgusting and so greedy that there absolutely has to be retribution that is more extreme than the average level of justice considered on the books today, because it is a level of injustice that we haven't seen in a century. So, like, something needs to be done to make sure that it is longer than a century the next time billionaires start to whisper. You know what I mean? The next time millionaires start talking about how they don't have enough fucking money, there needs to be something they can point at very distinctly. Hey, you remember the last time a bunch of dipshits said that stuff? That's what happened to them. You don't want that to happen to you, do you? Like, there's where we are now. And unfortunately, like, there's a lot of people that are still dragging their feet and thinking that there's a table to be negotiated at, when it's literally like cherry oak carved. Fucking, like, there's no table. It's clearly fucking their table. It is so clearly their table. They're putting gold leaf on it now. Like,
I think she may be on to something.
The reason why I can't believe that I'm the new adult is because at one point we had it all. 24-hour Walmarts, $5 footlongs, $20 full tanks of gas, $1 McChickens, 99-cent stores. What do we have now? We took it for granted. We had it all and then we gave it all up. When I was a child, I had plans. I was like, damn, what my mama doing with her money? Broke ass bitch. You're bad at money management. Guess what? No, it just was not ever enough money. When I used to get my shoes from Payless, I used to be like, damn, she always got to catch a sale. She always talking about she going to get it when it go on sale. Lord, how I wish I had one of them BOGOs right now. Back in the day, McDonald's dollar menu, baby, $4 and you can have yourself an appetizer, an entree, a drink, and a dessert. Go up in that mug with $4 now. You know what you're going to get? A large fry. Get out of them people's shit. Back when $5 used to be gas money. Lord, I remember the days. Now, Uber costs $18 to go 2 miles up the road.
Is it just me? Or is America crashing out, man? Is America crashing out? And I'm not blaming anybody. I just feel like people are not doing well and it's not all their fault. I was looking at some statistics, man. We got the highest unalive rate in all the countries, right? We got the highest drug use rate of all the countries. We got the highest overdose rate of all the countries. Why is America doing so bad mentally? You know what I mean? America has low-key turned into a psychiatric hospital. And it's nobody's fault. I think it's what's happening to us. But I feel like America is crashing out. We in the crash out era right now. I don't know what's going on, but people aren't doing well and something needs to be done. People was crashing out, man. America is tripping right now. And I love America, but it's tripping.
You are witnessing the collapse of America. You, as of right now, are bearing witness to the very, very, very slow collapse of the United States of America, and it never happens fast. It's always a gradual process, just like any system failed in history. It's always a gradual process with multiple cracks along the way until eventually the system comes to a complete failure due to a multiple of reasons. The first sign that the United States is collapsing is the extreme wealth inequality. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's basically where a small majority holds most of the wealth, while the rest of the people barely have enough money to pay for living expenses like housing, food, water, etc. And that is bad for a system that thrives off of consumerism and people buying things, when those basic people that don't have most of the money don't have enough money to buy anything. Number 2 is the lack of trust in governmental institutions. Trust in governmental institutions has been rapidly declining over the years due to number 1, the ease of access to information, and number 2, the ease of sharing information. You can share anything corrupt about a company nowadays, and they can't just sweep it under the rug. They can't just pay this certain news article that the only community gets their news from, that news article, to say, hey, don't tell that community that I did that bad thing. No, if you do one bad thing, a politician does one bad thing, or a company does one bad thing, and it's on social media, they can share it with millions of people in just a second, and now everybody doesn't like that company. Number 3 is a debt-driven economy. Basically what is happening right now, instead of being able to purchase and own your own home, or purchase and own your own car, or purchase and own your own anything, you are forced to be able to go into debt for these items. Basically, you never really own these items. You're renting your house, you're financing your car. There's apps to literally finance anything in the world, like a firm, right? You can finance a Burger King meal, you can finance a Big Mac, you can finance your clothes, you can finance that drink you purchased last Saturday, and you can pay it back. Basically incentivizing debt. You are making money off of debt. Now the problem with that lies in how much debt can accumulate before that person cannot pay back their debt.
Okay, so you basically want us to make 3 times the rent, single or married. You want us to get off of work early to come and pick up our kids when we don't get off until 5. You want us to pay rent on time on the 1st, but our check is a little bit too short. Oh, not only that, I've got to pay, after I get done paying all of this daycare, I'm going to have to pay for an after school program. So it's basically going to be going back into another daycare. How are we supposed to make it when y'all don't pay nothing but damn $20 an hour? And that's even with a degree. Oh, and if you got a degree, you got to pay your student loans off. So you're going to be in debt. So every bit of money that you're making an hour is going to be going back to them. Buckle up. It's getting real.
I've never lived in rural America, but I've always lived adjacent to it. Like, I've driven through it all the time, and I know people from, like, the rural parts of the country, and it's just crazy to me that 20% of Americans are just completely abandoned by the national politics, and frankly, they kind of live like shit. Like, it's none of these people's faults that manufacturing started, like, leaving rural America in, like, the 70s and 80s, and that, like, NAFTA was basically, like, the killing blow. Not to say that, like, NAFTA was completely evil. Like, the way it was implemented wasn't good, because it makes life more affordable for the rest of the country for a time. But then it was so abrupt, it basically just ended how these people lived. And if I'm being honest, it feels like rural America was always doomed from the beginning because of its infrastructure. The way rural towns are built in America are extremely different from how they're built in, like, Western Europe. They're completely reliant on suburbs and the cities, and they have no form of, like, transportation outside of cars. Like, if this country was built around trains, like, it wouldn't be as bad. And, like, neither party cares. Like, Republicans fucking hate their constituents. They're never gonna do anything to help rural Americans, but, like, I can't lie to you and say Democrats really care that much either.
Since I came back to America, I wake up and I just be like, man, something gotta change, bro. Like, something has to change.
America could have had nice things. Universal health care. Possible. Affordable college. Absolutely. A strong middle class. Should have been a given. But instead, this country chose racism over progress. And now everyone's paying for it. Because every time America had a chance to build something that benefited everybody, the thought of Black people having access to it was apparently too much to handle. Instead of progress, we got a country that actively made life harder for itself, just to keep Black people down. Universal health care. Not if Black people get it too. Back in the 1940s, America had a chance to create a universal healthcare system. Other countries did it, but the US? Nah. Now, you may be asking yourself, why? Because universal healthcare meant that Black people could go to the same hospitals as white people and potentially get treated like an actual human being. And they just couldn't have that. Southern politicians outright said that they wouldn't support it if it meant desegregation. Instead of universal health care, we got employer-based insurance. And that left millions of people uninsured, and we all know a hospital bill can bankrupt you. And now, even white people in states that fought so hard against universal health care, they're struggling just to afford insulin. Rural hospitals are shutting down because states are refusing federal funding. Medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy. But hey, at least they didn't have to share a waiting room, right? Affordable college, though. Let's talk about that. Once upon a time, public colleges were affordable. California's public universities, they were basically free. Tuition in other states? So cheap, you could pay for it with a summer job. Can you imagine? And then the civil rights movement happened. More Black students gained access to higher education. And instead of just letting people go to school, states started slashing education budgets. Public universities raised tuition. Federal aid shifted from grants to loans. And suddenly higher education became a debt trap. And now, Americans are over $1.7 trillion in student debt. An entire generation is financially crippled for simply getting an education. And even jobs that require degrees don't pay enough to cover the costs. America was so determined to keep Black students out, they ended up locking everyone into lifelong debt instead. Now, home ownership. You know what builds generational wealth? Owning a home. After World War II, the government gave white families access to cheap home loans, setting them up for success. Black families locked out of those programs, thanks to redlining and racist lending processes. And when Black people did buy homes, white flight drained resources from those neighborhoods. So if we fast forward to today, the housing market is a literal nightmare. Wages haven't kept up with home prices. Millennials and Gen Z can barely afford rent, let alone buy a property. America's fear of Black home ownership helped create a market where now nobody can afford a house. Now let's talk about strong unions. Back in the day, unions were powerful. They fought for better wages, job security, and benefits. And Black workers, they were leading some of the biggest labor movements. What did corporations and politicians do? They went to war with the unions. Reagan set the tone by firing striking air traffic controllers in 1981. Companies spent decades breaking unions, outsourcing jobs, and replacing full-time work with gig jobs. Right-to-work laws made organizing harder. And now most workers were left with stagnant wages and no protection. America didn't want to give Black workers bargaining power, so they weakened unions across the board and made everyone suffer. This country could have had universal health care. It could have had free college. It could have had a strong working class and affordable housing. But every time America had the choice between progress and keeping Black people out, it picked the latter. And now, instead of just screwing over Black people, the entire system is broken. They deny Black people health care. Now the whole country's drowning in medical debt. They lock Black students out of college. Now everyone is shackled with student loans. They stopped Black home ownership. Now the housing market is a disaster. They fought Black-led unions. Now wages are stagnant for everyone. America wanted to keep Black people down so badly, it dragged itself down with us. And the wildest part is that people are still out here pretending to be surprised.
America fumbled so hard. We fumbled the ball so hard as a nation. We could have been talking about universal health care and improving our education system, but instead we're talking about how to attack pronouns and emails and how to give the richest man in the world more money and all of his friends having to pay less in their taxes while your taxes increase. It's crazy. And for those of you who are even for a second thinking about, oh, he's trying to give us another stimulus check. The stimmy. He's going to fire you, cause you to lose your job just to go and give you a stimulus check of $5,000 as a pat on the back. That's like somebody stabbing you and giving you a Band-Aid and saying, oops, I'm sorry. They did it on purpose. He's purposely causing people to lose their jobs. Unemployment finna go up. Inflation's finna go up so that he can make more money. Again, that's like stabbing you with a knife and giving you a Band-Aid.